All right, we talk about our cornice. Today I want to talk about Cutterheads, which I use to create fluted balusters. We mentioned this yesterday, but I want to show you. The reason we're doing ourselves because every time we go, it's different material. Sometimes it's maple, sometimes it's mahogany or walnut. So we want to be a little bit independent and create everything quickly for ourselves. That's why we have those Cutterheads. This is not the biggest one. I have even bigger for fluted columns. This is Cutterhead for crown molding, which was used here. This is the sample, so don't judge me for staying here. This crown molding knife was used here. There's another profile. I don't have this on a Cutterhead, but I want to show you. It's also right there. We talked about using 6/4, 8/4, 5/4 material. Those profiles are really deep. So when you look at it, this one, you definitely have to use thicker material than 4/4. And like I mentioned it, a lot of knife designs were from books which shows original designs from starting from 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th century, even 19th century, and those are original profiles which a client gave me about 18 years ago, and we used this in one of the houses in Illinois. So I'm still using it. Not always, because everything it's about money, right? Budget is very important. So if I have a client who can spare a few bucks and we can afford it to buy thicker material and run it as a one piece, because you may, if you have some experience, you may also know you can do a combination of many smaller moldings and put together and achieve a similar goal, but it's not that easy. So well, for example, if you have a profile like this, I like to run it as a one whole piece, especially when I have to make the curve element by the window. Let's say some parts of this beam, if you cut it, you can have a cornice. So this beam, it's on the ceiling, but when you chop it here, you're gonna have this profile against the wall, so it will be cornice. Normally, if I will have this as a cornice only, I will climb a little bit more to the ceiling here to make it wider, going this way. I think it's okay the lengthwise here to the wall, but right here I'm missing the piece. So you can add it anything you think it's gonna work later. This is definitely won't work here. When you start building this beam, it's a poplar. We use the poplar here, even if it looks like it's stained. It's a poplar because I mentioned it. The client wanna have the full antique finish. You have to divide the room for wherever it's necessary, rectangle, squares. Just be careful when you calculate. You have to calculate when you start from this piece here, this channel, you create a channel, you attach this to the ceiling, and then this, those pieces you can attach to your block, which is attached to the ceiling. Use as many anchor points as possible. Use even construction glue. Make sure this stays really well attached to your ceiling. Otherwise, all those things won't matter because everything will drop it to the floor. You don't want this to happen. So that's the critical part. You start here, but the calculation, you have to start on the outside. You see, when you're dividing a room, you have to remember against the wall, you're gonna have just half of it, or not even half, it depends. You can go even closer to this edge against the wall and have it this part only on the wall. So when you calculate your rectangular, you just keep it this point. That's your end point. And when you want to repeat those panels identical, that's the critical point for you. So you have to know how far you go against the wall. Then you have to know how far, what span was going to be your beam. And that's how you drew on the ceiling or make precise calculation with computer. We had to stop filming because the dog was barking so badly you couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear myself thinking. So I hope I'm gonna get on the truck right now and get going with this one. Halfway or a little bit less than halfway against the wall. Then calculate full width of the beam, whatever the design on the ceiling is. And that's your end point. From this point, then you can start locate your pieces when you build it. Double side or single side, right? Against the wall will be single side. Against the on the center or other beams will be double sided. And then you calculate and height of it. You build this box inside. I didn't have additional piece, did I? No, I didn't have an additional piece here. I just calculated the width of my last piece at the bottom, because when you flip this piece around, that's the bottom of the beam. Also not easy profile here, but anyway, so I had those pieces attached right here to the ceiling, and to the main holding piece. Those are additional pieces which you can place later, glue it, nail it, just to support and create a nice look for the crown molding and the additional molding here. So take your time, and you can create the beams like this with practically any profiles. It's just a matter of planning. When you're building up, just remember, put the additional blocks here so you can bring it up. That's the block which helps bring the profile to the point which I like it. Same story is here. We didn't talk about this before. I forgot it. But when you design it, I designed those stuff too. So when you design it, you just make sure you got maximum appearance of your moldings. So I don't want my crown molding die here against the wall. I want to have additional detail. But thanks to those 3/8 blocks, actually double 3/8 here, it's 3/4, sorry for this. we got additional extra detail here. So when I go again on the wall or cabinet, I'm going this way. I'm bringing this up 3/8. Then I put another 3/8. I'm bringing crown to this point, and then I calculate how high I go. And I want to have this, I don't want a crown die here on the ceiling and then have this piece. So when I calculate it, I calculate another 3/8 here. So I have extra detail. It's not easy. You see, it's many pieces here, and then it's extra pieces behind, but result is it's really good. We've done the mahogany office, and you will see in this mahogany office we used a little bit different base, a combination of the block or wrapped around column. Those are the blocks, and we use this type of cutter head to cut those blocks and make the profile work. So a funny thing, we have our shaper. Actually, I made the shaper by myself. I would love to use the Martin or Felder, but that's what I got. I had some parts from the other machine from Schaefer. And the first thing, when you got some experience with woodworking, you will know it's something odd already. Normally, it will go this way, but we cannot do it because how? You see, you can't. So we have to switch this and have what is important, have reverse rotation. So when you work here, when you put the cutter head, you have to go from left to the right, not from right to the left. When you have this profile and you run it here, that's what you get. Of course, I don't do this in one pass, and it's another secret. You can't, don't even try to run a small piece like this on a with large cutter head like this. Basically, you're gonna hurt yourself or your pieces will fly all over the place. Yeah, there is a solution for it. First solution, when I ask the other people, it's always, you make it a jig. Oh, that's excellent solution. But basically, when I work and I have to make like 10, 20 blocks, I just glue a few boards together, whatever I have, some pieces together. And sometimes I even double the heights of it. So when I run my piece, it's basically minimum 24 inches wide, it's tall, and I have additional piece sitting here at the top, so I'm really safe with large piece 24 inches and tall piece like 16 inches, depends of the height of the block when I cut them this way from the length. So basically I open this a little bit more and I go at least 2 to 3 passes safely get this profile. Of course, if you have a better shaper, you can do better and quicker, but that's what I do on my fancy machine here.